Welcome to this afternoon's feature match. Today, John Lang of the Hamburger Atlanteans out of Germany will be facing BF Raider off of Team Beerforge out of Spain. Let's get to the commentary with Big Z and Jupiter.
You had good reason this time. Jupiter got a new car, so congrats, Jupiter. Can they hear me? Oogla, can you hear me and not Jupiter?
Check.
check.
Yeah, check. Okay, there we go. So what I was saying, let me get back to what I was saying. So these are the 6 decks that basically we're going to be running with. That was weird, but and I labeled each deck with the icons for the team that they are associated with, so we could look at them all. And that when it comes time for you guys to pick who you think is going to be banned and who you think the first player who you think is going to win, we can have it all right here. So it's a little bit easier and stuff. So Z, I'll let you start. Let's start with John's deck suite. So the first deck that I think we should look at is the I forgot what this translates to, the Chinese one. It's like something about good luck.
We have it in here
it's good luck. It's the daughter of good luck.
Sister of good luck.
Yeah, sister of good luck. So, what do you think about this deck? Tell us.
I'm looking at it again. We've seen this all season long. Lots of speed from the MM buckets. You have the combo with Dark Harbinger. Early on, I was very skeptical about whether that can actually fire a lot of amber. I have seen and shown that it does. All of this is set up by the double Chronos, double QMech, Ultra Gravitron, and Logos. And Dis does mostly what normal Dis and MM does. You're only looking at one Infernus, no mark of Dis, but it does have the jar, so it is bringing in some disruption. Like, this is a pretty tried and true, very good MM. So yeah, it's just a lot of things that are hard to deal with, and that's what MM has brought to the table. Just lots of stuff that is hard to deal with, especially Jar. Jar does a lot of work at high level play.
Yeah,
you've got a lot of high level cards you kind of have to guarantee to have, or your deck kind of falls apart quite often.
Yeah, I've definitely become more of a believer in how powerful Jar is. I played against a guy earlier today that had Eaton's Jar with a Snudge, and it does work when you can reset it and guess what the person's going to do, and then when you pitch what it is they're going to do, you just bounce the jar and recast it. So, lots of interesting things with Eaton's Jar, and Eaton's Jar is just so oppressive that it's scary, right? And this one has a pip on it too, so it's interesting. But all in all, what do you think? How do you think the level of this deck is going to play out? Do you think this is an elite?
I like all of John's. I think they're very good. I mean, yeah. So I think he's one of the people that brought a very strong triad. I noticed the SAS scores cut out in the view, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I wanted people not to be biased.
yeah, I like that. I think all of them can hang and stand the test. It is a very hard strike for any of his opponents.
Yeah, so this deck also has Chonkers in it, so shout out to Morpheus. This is like a deck he would drool on. So, and it does have Dark Harbinger. Harbinger is a lot better than I initially thought as well. I thought it was kind of gimmicky at first, but then I started to feel the value. So I think this deck is really good. So I'm pretty excited to see it played if it gets through, but I don't know if it will. But I think all 3 decks are pretty equally annoying. So it'll be a matchup issue for Radar to choose here. So let's move on to Griffon. I'm not going to try to say the rest. It's Clonia, I guess. But this is a
Mhm.
Logos Saurian Shadow Suite. It has Hawk and Double Tribute and like all the like utility cards that you want to see for like Amber scaling, and it has a board wipe, and it has a key cheat. Like it has all the things that you want to see in a nice deck. And I think of all the three of these decks, I think this is the one I'm the biggest fan of. Um, as far as like what I see in this deck, especially with like the Data Forge and like the Millie, the Desania, the Edai, like it just has a lot of good stuff, and nothing like I think is crazy. Like like over the top. Like you do have Cincinnati Rex, but it doesn't have the Golden Spiral with it. But it's still a Cincinnati Rex, right? It has
This
the
is a super high value Comsos of 6. You
yeah,
got the you got the
Compsos.
Ronnies, you've got the Eddie, you've got the Redders that would not have to exalt then to trigger.
Mm-hmm.
Desanya would be kind of funny too.
Yeah, like as I said, like I was getting the Compost is next on my list, and you killed me. But yeah,
Yeah,
so like
gotcha.
yeah, Compost is one of my favorite cards. So it's in one of my decks too, Hadenberg. So like I love Compost, and mine is not nearly as good as this deck. So it's kind of a jack of all trades, lots of use and lots of value if he can protect the Compost. It's just something that I think is gonna be a little bit hard.
Yeah, because we're not seeing Imperium. I don't even think we have Taunt in house. So like,
No,
nah, no Taunt in house other than Axiom. If you can get Amber on Comsos first, which you probably don't want it there. So most likely he's going to be pretty open to assault. The only way in deck is Titan Guardian Hologramophone to protect him. And obviously there's always going to be a turn. I guess you could land him next to Titan. So we're going to see what happens there. Some nice tools, but I think if a heads up player is paying attention, they can be answered.
yeah. All right, so moving on to Asma. I don't know.
I think we have this as Sov.
Yeah, we'll go with Sov Architect. That's a lot easier.
Yeah.
This is a double Binite Rupture, double Graft. Interesting kind of deck. Doesn't have the out with like a helper bot or nothing, but do you really need it if you can hit this so early and so
Double
consistently?
Brig is really weird. It's one of those things that you just can high roll and beat you, or you can crush it. It does have the memory chip and the double sloppy to actually set it up more reliably, which is why it is a good Brig deck versus a bad Brig deck. But it is kind of weird to play against one because you always have to assume, even from go, that you can be brigged. So, does your opponent make that adjustment or not? Because it also has TMTP to go along with that. It doesn't actually have the helper bot to like truly be insulting. But yeah, lots of stuff to make all of the magic happen
Yeah.
that you'd want from a Brig deck.
All right, so those are the three decks for John. Let's like do a quick run through of the Beer Forge decks for Radar. We'll start with Morgan, Padre de la whatever Morgan. We're gonna go with Morgan, the
De
father.
la Casita Famara.
Yeah, sure. Afamada. So this deck is Des Logos Untamed. It is pretty sweet. It has the like again, it has like the key out. It has the board control that you're looking for. It doesn't have a scaling amber control, but it's not really that kind of deck. It's more of a obviously a aggro kind of like go for the throat amber push pull kind of like very Coda. But I'm not sure that this is overly efficient. It does have a couple pullbacks with the Drumble and stuff like that, but this deck is kind of weird to me. Like I understand the library access is going to get good value. The Neutron Shark is there, but all in all, like this one is kind of a suspect on my list. I want to kind of see it played, as I don't necessarily fully grip what is happening here.
I mean, I'm a huge fan of the double library of the Damned. I have a deck that has that, and it does change a lot of things going on. But the same deck has some things that can take advantage of similar tools in it, but it's missing some things. Like that deck has a control the weak. That deck has an effervescent control. And those are some pretty key differences between my deck and this deck, and I think those are significant differences. This does have a key to disc, which I think I would rather have than the gateway that mine has.
Mm-hmm.
But I still think not having the control of the weak in here, not having scaling amber control, could be an Achilles heel.
Yeah.
But again, like this is also a super high roll. You land early Library of the Damned by turn 4, you could have a gigantic Untamed turn.
Or a big
And
Logos
depending
library.
on the amber check that they have, that could be a win. So we'll see.
And they have the library, like the logos, like right, so you can like phase
Hmm.
shift
Yeah,
twice
that's what I'm saying.
with
Like,
a
if you come
C.
out with a really quick
Like,
logos turn,
mhm.
yeah. Well,
This definitely favors the person who's played it more, I think, and that's why I'm not going to judge on this because for me, I look at it initially and I go, man, this is one I'd have to play to get, and I don't think I fully get it, but I think that the phase shift, like comboing out of house with in the library access turn, is how this is going to run. So, but we'll see what happens with it, and we'll move on to Persephone, Pirata del Momento Gentile. It's a pirate deck,
sure.
so like
Yeah.
it's a double.
Pirate.
It's double exhumes. Too much to protect. Key forgery is interesting. It's a cute card more than a good card to me. I see stealth
Yeah.
mode, zaps. I do see a lot of great things in this deck. I like it. I do see a key cheat. I do see scaling amber control. I am
I think
seeing,
this was a lot more solid than the previous one.
yeah.
I do play decks like this. I'm not a fan of the Shadows in Worlds Collide at all,
Hmm.
but this does have like the important card in it. It does have too much to protect.
Hmm.
As you said, Key Forgery is a cute card. It can combo real well too much to protect. But the rest of the Shadows is the reason why I don't like a lot of Worlds Collide Shadows. You've got a lot of stuff that just doesn't really talk to the rest of the deck. Um, so if like the Kirby's can use some of that stuff out of house to make those turns a little less painful, it could get much better. But I do play a lot of decks like this. I think there is a lot of value in most of your non-shadows.
Yeah, I think the swing card in this deck that is like not talked enough about the power level is the Caller of Subordination. The card
Mm-hmm.
is pretty fantastic, especially if you're in a mirror, right? Like because then you get value like even more value off of it. So, but moving on, we'll look at Theon. We'll call it Ringleader. It's easier. Of the Peculiar Fires. So this is a Dis Star Alliance Untamed. I'll let you lead it since I've been doing most of it.
Yeah, so this is another M deck. Disc Star Alliance Untamed. This one does have the Mark of Disc. This one does have the Infernus.
Hmm.
Does have the Grim Reminder. So you're looking at a little bit more of what I expect to see in Disc MM come out.
Hmm.
Obviously, you're losing the Jar in trade for the more traditional YMM. Disc has been so good.
Hmm.
In Star Alliance, it's really the substitutes are kind of weird. So you got an odd amount of creature control in here. Stun is pretty good these days,
Hmm.
so we'll see if that does work. But other than that, it doesn't actually have a lot of the tempo Star Alliance that you would want to see.
But it has
Um,
24 raw amber. That is insane.
yes, that's what I'm getting. See, you dumped me this
Yeah, I
time.
was waiting for it.
But then you get to the Untamed and you see why the Amber is in this deck. The double Wild Bounty and the two Gloriana's attendants are giving the deck 8 raw Amber that's going to be placed all over the place. And I think some of it landed in Untamed. I'm looking at the thing now. Yes, the Reclaimed by Nature has 2 Amber pips, which can pair with Wild Bounty to give yourself a 4 Amber artifact purge. That's pretty hard to deal with in some cases, because you're also purging an artifact. If that has amber, that is a 5 to 6 amber combo, depending on what your target of your purge is. Pretty solid stuff going on with that. I would be excited to see either of these MM decks get played. We've seen a lot of MM get struck through our event. So hopefully that doesn't happen today, and we'll see what happens. But
All right, so it's time for
they put the
predict.
strikes in the chat. So what are your predictions? I don't think you've seen the chat yet.
I didn't see anything in chat. All right,
I've
so
seen the chat.
striking. So let's see. For if I'm striking against John, I think the deck I want, if I'm playing what he's playing, I think the deck I want to least play against is this is a tough one, man. Like I think I have to say Colonia. I don't think I want to play against Colonia, but I also don't like that Eaton's Jar. Eaton's Jar is kind of scary. Actually, I'm gonna ban the sister. I'll ban sister.
Sister did get struck, so the MM goes down. I think it was a close call there.
Yeah.
But yes, the MM with the crazy Untamed Potential Burst, the
Yeah.
Ultra Gravitron, and the Jar.
Yeah, I was
That's
like,
just too
there's
much.
just too much. I
Yeah,
don't think it
too
all
much.
I don't think it all pulls in the same direction. So I'm tentative, but like at the same time, like it's all value. So
I
like,
agree with you that that they are all different things. They don't necessarily talk to each other, but when MM puts that much pressure on you that you have to constantly answer different things all the time, it wins games.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've seen that
And then if
when it does get played.
I'm banning across the way, I think I'm getting rid of that 24 raw amber. I don't like it at all. So
The other MM deck, yes,
yeah,
you're correct.
yeah.
That's 2 in a row. You are 2 for 2 this week so far.
Hey,
You predicted yesterday's match or whenever we
means
did that. It feels
nothing.
like
It just
yesterday.
means I can identify a good deck. Yeah.
Yeah, so both MM decks are going to get struck. Don't get to get MM play, which makes me sad. But either way,
It makes me happy.
we're going to hop in the game now, Jupiter. And I'll wait till you get in. And actually, you're coming. So
I am coming in right now. Just have to figure out the password. Which variant?
First try. Good job.
All right. Well, it's one of two, right? It's either uppercase or lowercase.
I mean, there's infinite possibilities if they don't follow directions. They've been real good about that this season.
All right, so we're gonna go all in here, guys, as we get ready to kick this thing off, and let's see if what they bring to the table here as we move forward.
On the top, Raider is leading off with Morgan Padre, the Disuntamed logo set with the possible high rolls.
Mm-hmm.
In the Library Access Phase Shift, Double Library of the Damned. On the bottom, we've got Aslan Sav Architect. This is the AOA deck that has the double brig. That is not what I think Raider wanted to see.
No.
Because, yeah, he doesn't have scaling, and he can burst. So I guess if he lands his Chota well...
Yeah, he has his key outs, and that's kind of in a good place. It'll be hard to believe, but I think this is an ideal matchup for Aslan, right? I think Aslan does have some play here. So
yeah, the double brig is real big against a Coda deck that wants to burst a lot.
And the too much protect and stuff, too. Like,
you almost, like, if I'm BF Raider, like, I almost get, like, just don't burst at all no matter what until I can lab work my Chota. Library of Damned, my Chota. You've got lab work and double Library of the Damned, so you have some ways to get it set up. I would be super tentative going high because of double brig it's going to crush you.
Yeah, this will be an interesting match. Like, it's going to be well played. So we lead off with a Dust Imp, which is good pressure.
Well, so much for. I guess it's just 2 Embers not going high, but I thought we were about to see it come down.
I think you can go to 6 comfortably. Like, if he wants a brig at 6, then I think you live with that and just keep pushing. I would think, but then you have to worry about that too much to protect. Like, so I don't know. This is tricky. This is a game you'd have to get some reps.
The problem is there's also Miasma, so you can go to 6, Miasma you, like, create real bad turns for you. Like, I have a brick deck, and I don't remember if it actually has 2 or not. I think it has 2 graphs, 1 by 8, and it is interesting what you can force people to do sometimes. They either take real bad turns or just risk it. People don't want to take bad turns in Keyforge. All right, now we got Raider. Titan Mechanic. That actually does reduce the value of Brig quite a bit. No, that actually increases it in a way. If he could forge early enough before the Brigs are set up, it has value. Phase Shift lands the Library of the Damned, so that's actually really good, because let's talk about he needs to be able to set up his archive in a way Chota can forge the keys.
Yeah, spread these cards out a little bit. I try to leave it big for you, Teska, but I can't deal with the overlaps.
Who are you?
One of the guys that watches us, he's always like, you could always make the cards bigger so we could see it better on mobile devices, and I'm like, I can't deal with the overlaps.
Probably make the cards like the half view. Can't read the text.
I don't like the halves.
Yeah, but like when you're casting, read the things on the bottom anyway, so at least they can see the picture.
Yeah, that's true.
I used to not like the halves when I'm playing, but I got so used to it from some of the casts that I watch, I now just leave it on that way.
Yeah.
And you see the full card when you hover. All right, so we got John thinking through his turn here. We're going into disc. Got the Dust Imp on board.
Atlanteans are very good about being thorough.
Yep.
They take their
He
time.
fights in the Escatera. Get the value to. Maybe this is the only way he can get the check this turn. Normally, I would prefer to reap there. No, he goes with not finished with you. Is anything and puts the Dust Imp back in. Okay, so that. I don't know if I want that back in my cycle in a Brig deck, but that does put extra Ember on the board earlier.
He is the master of this deck, so like it's his deck, so he knows better than what we're seeing, because it was definitely a hard. This is a harder deck to play. This is like that big brain kind of deck. It's all about timing. Lots of value. Like the more value you generate, the better, right?
So Raider's going to try to go for a key here. Again, I said you kind of always have to assume Brig is online, and I think I would, but I think he kind of has to. Although I don't know, with the Library of the Damned online, I'm definitely just like calling this as much as I can, try to Chota my way to victory here, because he does have seed, he does have regrowth.
So this is dangerous because John got to the first key first. That makes Brig a lot better. Like when you can get ahead, like that's when this is where like Brig punishes you. Like this is where if he's able to Brig and then graft all that value back, like it's literally like it turns into a rush deck basically.
For sure.
So this is a big turn.
Oh, so we didn't see the Brig here, so I'm assuming we're going to see in the miasma or a way to snipe one Amber. That way that Raider does not forge.
And he can go for bigger value too, so yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does Raider have an answer? I guess he has Drumble, but that's it. And that doesn't really get him his Amber back, it just puts it on a delay. So he doesn't really have a way to pull back.
There's the miasma.
He doesn't really have a way to pull back this Brig either, so that's the scariest part, right?
Well, this is what we're talking about. Like, deck doesn't really have any scaling at all, so it's really just live or die by its own rush. Now we're going into the Logos turn, not forging there, hurt. Not being able to forge on this turn is going to hurt. We already saw the phase shift, so we know there will not be a phase shift into Chota, which would be very good.
Yeah, actually, Ulug, I said in this matchup, I think that johnlaeng is favored in this matchup of cards. I think we both said that because Brig is just really good against Rush, especially when he has no way to answer it.
Yeah. That's why I think I would have played super hard for just the archiving method, generate relatively low Amber most of the game.
And the whole match? Yeah.
Once I saw, because as soon as you see Chota, you do have seed, you do have regrowth. You can try to go for a scenario where you. Oh wait, what played Chota? Wormhole? What?
Phase shift or wormhole?
Hell. Is Nathan watching this crap? Yes, he is.
Wormhole.
That is the only reason that just happened. Nathan logged in, was watching the game.
No, because it happened yesterday for Andrew as well.
Nuts. Well, Nathan watched that game too.
Oh, did he? Okay, so so if you are playing Wormhole in the KFPL, you have to make sure you call up Nathan and say, "Hey, I need you to watch this game."
What was the odds of like 1 in 19? Okay, cool. So like, that's what it was yesterday or the other day too. It was like 1 in 20 of the right thing happening.
Well, it was like 1 in 10 because he had 2 of them. So here comes the Brig.
Well, turn. No, it was like 1 in 10 and then 1 in 20 and then 1 in 19.
Yeah, so he Brigs for a smaller amount just to get like a little bit of a vault there. So, well, not Briggs, but
yeah, he gains
Binite Ruptures.
2 Amber there for Binite Rupture. No graft combo there. Wow.
Yeah, I did say Radar would win the overall. That was my choice on Sunday. You were right. I'm a big fan of Radar.
I called John, I'm sure, when we were.
No, you didn't.
No, no. I said last time I picked Raider because of you,
Oh,
and this
okay.
time I'm not going to get burned again like that.
Okay. I know there was two differences. Like we were the
This
same.
is one of the difference
Okay.
ones.
Yeah. So.
I was wrong about Sydney though. I wanted not to be so bad. I feel. Oh,
we were
come on, girl.
we were both wrong about Sydney,
Yeah,
but that for sure. But that's why you play the game.
I really am. Always loved. Finally got a little bit of love from DOK. Got a recent efficiency boost.
Yeah. Now Radar is moving. He's making some plays.
hmm
Good times.
Yeah, because even if he
Shuffles.
draws into Brig now,
Shuffles.
that's not that big of a deal. And
No.
Regrowth is still in deck, so there is a chance that the second key could come fairly easily on an Untamed Raider turn.
Yeah.
And if the second key comes off of a Regrowth, that like chops the nuts off of Aslan.
Yeah.
Like if it doesn't land one Brig, this is not fair. It could still possibly win the game, but that is a lot of value that is completely erratic if the second key is forged via a Chota from the discard pile.
Yeah.
Especially with Sally Caper, that's just free Amber every turn. Unless, Blood Eye didn't kill Caper. There's a chance I might have there, but I get getting Tentacle as well. John going to 6 means there's very little things that Raider can do to respond to that. Your Amber check is real light. Shaffles was just answered. There could still be a Schuler.
Yeah, but I think going back into this right here is kind of detrimental, right? Like it's not gonna be that great.
It's not going to be that great, but you're always archiving 2. Getting to 7 is probably a key. I don't see anything that would remove it. Nope. Yep.
No.
So that is a key because even Schuler is not going to remove that.
So,
Drumble is. We have not seen Drumble, so Drumble is actually.
Yeah, he's alive. But like there is the funny thing is Drumble actually gets taken off by Schuler. If he actually Schulers, he doesn't get the value from Drumble, or vice versa. But
That's true.
I think here for Radar is like I think the play here is if you have seed is to get seed on the board, right? Like Nepenthe seed is huge. At this
Logos
point.
is not the call I was expecting.
Well,
we hadn't seen hardly any Untamed at all.
Like it's not a library access turn.
I don't know possibly what he could have in his hand that is going to be better than archiving 2 cards. And that's assuming he had like notice.
Is he looking to get to 6 on Amber maybe? And populate? Like I don't know.
That's a thing. Like I don't know if I want to go to.
I think you have to.
Right?
I think you have to.
Like
you have to at this point though. You can't let John get that far ahead, right? Because like you don't have a lot of ways to pull back. So like this is like one of those like. I mean.
No, there's still a scenario where giving him 1 key right now would not have been that bad.
Oh, we're gonna see the shark eat the. Oh no, he lost his key. Not that he needs it.
Yeah.
Oh, why is he trying to weed his deck out? Like, what is he doing? Interesting. I mean, it does get a card out of his deck, right? So he's like getting through his deck. Maybe he wants to get back to the things he's used.
I'm fully expecting this to be Brig, and that would
be game.
No, it's Shadows.
Okay, too much to protect gets value. Sucker punch. There's too much to protect.
For just 1. Life for life.
He doesn't care. He's just trying to get the check. Like he knows. But getting that key is pretty good for him. Now if he has the big Untamed turn.
Yeah, that like being able to forge this is There's actually a decent chance Raider can win this.
Yeah.
We've seen
He's got 2 turns.
there are 4 untamed cards in the discard pile right now. There's 1 in the archive. There are several paths that untamed generates enough amber from hand and could then do a key cheat the next turn.
But there's like the thing is he has 2 turns right now to get to a win, right? Like with this key cheat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it's because of Chota being in the discard pile.
Oh, this is gross. This could be it.
If Seed comes out here, if Regrowth is drawn next turn,
and if he gets enough amber, if he gets the 3 amber, he's basically protecting his cause because he can't buy night at that point because he'd put him on a key.
Yeah. Well, I mean, buy night is basically dead now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. So this is like game over for the buy night game, like here for sure, because I don't think he has a way to, well, he does. Well, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have a way to like double it up and then take it back. So yeah, so that's it for buy night. If there's a buy night, it's done. It's a dead card. So this is heads up player here, and now with the Nepenthe Seed, he doesn't draw, so he knows he's getting to Chota next turn. This is like a guarantee.
Yeah.
So this is all on like how does John respond? Like how
I don't know what the response is here. Like
I think Radar is going to squeeze this out.
Because even if he kills the entire board, you can Nep Seed. If he has Regrowth in hand, well, I guess he has to have Regrowth. If he has Regrowth in hand, he can Regrowth the Pixie, Nep Seed Regrowth Chota.
He's got so much value here on the board.
like, and there's only 3 cards left in deck, so the odds are that
he's going Dis though. So there's the Drumble turn. And he's going to archive to get more speed to try to get. But he has to be careful though, because he doesn't want to flip the deck, right? Like flipping the deck, I think, is detrimental here. I'm guessing the only reason he goes into Dis is because he has the Drumble play and he needs to draw the Regrowth still. I don't think he has the Regrowth. Ember Imp's a good start.
Yeah. He does
Drumble.
have to be careful not to flip, right?
Okay, that's it. Okay. You don't play any more cards.
Don't play any cards.
Don't archive.
The tension just hanging in the air. Like, are we gonna have our first come on man? It would be a big one.
I mean technically he could seed here, right? And like pull the Chota to hand and then archive 2 cards. Because then he would be able to at least have more things, like more options. And there is nothing that is going to punish him, so he can even archive the Chota to get it into the...
Yeah, but the odds are so high because of the... Oh, he is archiving here.
I hope he uses that seed to grab that Chota. He needs it.
There's the seed.
He should have archived Chota, though. I don't like keeping Chota in hand. But is there a way to punish
that? Can anything in... I don't see any of those cards that would auto beat me.
Yeah, there's nothing.
No.
Yeah, okay.
No anti-Z artillery in there.
Yeah.
Nathan is on your side.
Yay!
From the chat. The great thing speaking up from the chat is archive the Chota after the seed.
Yeah. I think that would have been my play. It's just
the reason I wouldn't flip is I wanted the ability to regrowth the Pixie, Nep Seed the regrowth, and then regrowth Chota.
That's just overkill, though. This is like a sure win.
Well, if he did something to your Amber, you might need it.
What is he gonna do? Double you up? Like?
Well, if he'd answered the witch, I mean, if he answered the board somehow, I don't.
Double witch. Reap.
There it is. Double witch. Chota comes down.
Makes
man.
Woo! My boy pulls it out.
There were like two moments there though. Had he drawn, had he had Brig, which, whew.
Yeah, he needed the Brig. It didn't come at the right time.
Yeah,
I wonder
that is the highs and lows of Brig deck. As an owner of a decent one, Yes, this happens quite often.
Yeah, I like my brig deck. I don't have a double brig. That's pretty crazy. All right, so that was game one, and
Game one goes to
that puts
Morgan
Morgan out of the
Padre
way.
de la Casita.
Right, and so let's think about. Let's go back to here. I'll kill the commercial because we don't need that. But so with Morgan off the table, that means we know that he's coming into Pirate, like into Persephone. So coming into Persephone, do you think he changes decks?
Do I told you before, like I would never change decks, but we've seen it a lot. And that's one of the things we can talk to them. I think it's super late for them, so I don't think they're going to come on for a post game interview.
No, I don't think so.
So we won't get to ask that question. But I never change, so I would stick with the double brig and then try to beat Persephone. Persephone doesn't have a traditional key cheat the way that works, but it does have a key cheat that can kind of force the second key if you have the creatures on the board. Persephone doesn't only has 13 creatures in the deck, so
it has a lot of exhuming and like odd lines, but I do think that Persephone is a interesting matchup for.
it does have a stealth mode. Yeah. That is a way to go high and to be safe.
Yeah.
It also has the too much to protect to like basically get into the brig versus TMTP chicken. I've been in a lot of games where both sides have a graft or TMTP equivalent, and you just end up with this gigantic game of chicken of who's going to go high first.
I think I want to win. I think I want to win this game, so I think I would switch to Clonia because Clonia doesn't have Des, and it limits the EA effect as well. And I think that eventually he has to come back to Azion, obviously, but I think that he gets an easier win with Clonia than he would with Azion, in my opinion.
All right, they have a game up. I stick by my never switch thing. But we're gonna see. Persephone is up, and see where are these players at? We didn't really talk. I haven't really been talking about that much. In Group G, Raider is 0-1. He had a bye week 1, and johnlaeng is 1-1. So everyone's still in contention. We know that right now. So it'd be an interesting place. johnlaeng lost game 1, and he's choosing to keep it to be random. So we're going. I've seen a couple people do this. That is not the decision that I would make, but that is what some of our players have chosen. As the losing player, you can, I guess, you have 3 choices: go first, second, or random. And we have Raider going first, which is what I would have chosen as a fun thing anyway. Probably a largely non-relevant choice.
So John is going to Clonia, so he is sharing in my thought.
So he did switch.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've been asking that question, Corey, for a long time.
Yes, Nathan has put in chat. The only real question is why can't players make that decision themselves at the beginning of matches? Nobody knows. I guess there's someone out there that has.
Uglik is our official "come on, man" fan. So.
Yes, come on, man.
He created.
I don't know if that's quite on the level of what we've been reserving our come on mans. Actually, Nathan himself did that in a match.
I think it's more just people don't want to deal with resetting all the time. It wastes so much time sometimes.
I mean, I guess Simon gets a hit. Never happened. Man, that's so annoying. Returning the card to the top of the deck. That is beyond frustrating, and that's about to happen all of the time. Just can't wait for that.
the person that was driving my car from my house back to the dealership, she was like, "That was the scariest ride I've ever had." I was like, "I told you." She's like, "I wasn't sure I was gonna make it." I was like, "That's why we traded it in."
Oh, look, I'm gonna love that card. I'm just saying, when
Bubbles.
it happens to you, that is gonna be a nightmare. When you get to do it to your opponent,
Yeah.
it's a different thing.
I think they should send me a deck that has 4 or 5 bubbles in it, just because I got to break. We got to break it.
Oh, I'm sure Dave's gonna give someone a couple $100 for a 5 bubbles deck.
I'm not. If I get it, it's mine. I'm keeping
Yeah.
bubbles.
5 bubbles, 5 Eddie. There's the dream.
Bubbles is was so exciting because Harlan saw it and was just instantly like Bubbles, like because he loves Bubbles. So I couldn't give away a Bubbles deck.
Oh, and the art is great. It's a
Yeah,
great card. It's uncommon, and the art is really, really funny.
yeah.
All right, so we've got building board on the top with Raider. Remember, Persephone doesn't have a lot of creatures, but we are seeing quite a few of them. This is 5 out of 13 creatures. this is quite a bit of them early on. So that's quite interesting. It's a fairly live Kincan. If nope, Shadows is on the board, so actually I guess it's not. Only Saurian triggers. Saurian or Dis on the other side would trigger the Kincan. So not that restrictive at this point, although John hasn't caught anything other than logos. So he might want to call Saurian. The Axiom would be fairly good play right now, so maybe he does. We are having some think time here. Thought they're debating about whether Bubbles is printed on common or not. I thought it was.
Thought it was common.
Okay, they're clearing it up. Chat's. Bubbles is a common card. It does pair nicely with the uncommon Better Nature's Call. So that's totally balanced.
Yeah.
John's thinking a while. I wonder if Axiom is in hand. Is it worth giving this deal to kill these 5 creatures? I'm going to go with most likely yes. As horrible as Agent Fingers is, you're in a bad situation. If my opponent goes back to Star Alliance here, that's a huge value turn if the board stays the way it is. Because one of those is Steel 1. It is Saurian, gives the Amber over. I'm assuming we are going to... Oh, maybe we're not. What else would it be in here to make you... Failing Strike could be here? Failing Strike answers 2. Oh, nope, just board. And didn't answer the board. There's that Compsos, though. So you like the Compsos. Do you think it was worth it going into Saurian here, letting the Amber Steel, not answering the board to land the 3 creatures?
The thing I don't
That's
like.
weird.
The thing I don't like about the thing with it, I guess with the compost on the board is that it's bigger than anything else right now, so it's as safe as it's going to be without getting traded. But then the Simon just puts it right back into the top of the deck.
Yeah.
So
I
like,
mean, he is going this here. Doesn't get a steal off of it because there's
just yeah.
nothing to steal.
Mm-hmm.
But he's also just building board. When we haven't seen Axiom, we haven't seen the Failing Strike. He takes the collar. I would have definitely stole the Compsos. That's because we talked about the way the deck works. Maybe that was a miss. Because Eddie does very little for you at the moment. You didn't even get into check. I think it would have been pretty cool to actually have done the Obsidian Forge there. Could have done it. You're going to lose all this crap eventually. Interesting.
This game could go either way right now. It's still a pretty
Good. Like, that was a value turn on the... I don't know.
The big thing with Clonia is it doesn't really have, like, other than Axiom, it doesn't really have a big swingy, like, board clear. Like, you have the Cincinnatus, I guess that could get you some value, but like,
can't get played on the play because you have no spiral.
Yeah. Was it wrong to take the Idai and not take the Compos?
That's what I was saying. I think Comtos was the target. We did the analysis. Comtos has a ton of value in this deck. Because even Melee would have been fairly live.
Is it just a disrespect for Compos? Like a not known, like never been burned by Compos kind of thing here? Because
I mean, it's a rare. It doesn't get that seen that often.
yeah,
So maybe.
yeah. There's sometimes when I play my deck and people like I have the Compos and they kill the Compos and then I go in and I drop my Infernuses and stuff and like they just leave the Infernuses on the board like they're supposed to, right? Like that's like the idea. But then like I zoom my
Mhm.
Compos, like it becomes so good.
Yeah, yeah. See, like that's it is a great card. Lots of things can get busted when creatures start to act ways they're not meant to.
Yeah, today I learned a new combo that like I guess I should have known it, but I just never had a deck until now that abuses it so bad. Is that Song of Nature with Ghost Hawks is ridiculous.
Oh, is that the return or shuffle or
No,
whatever?
no, Song of Nature like gives you extra amber for reaping, and then when you play Ghost Hawk,
Oh,
you get 4 for every song. So I have 2 songs and like 2 Ghost Hawks, and the Ghost Hawk has a drop it, so it's like stupid, so good. Lots of fun value in that.
we did see a hit 7, so I think we'll probably see a Ronnie come down. And then if you don't answer Compsos, Ronnie gets real live, real fast. So we're gonna. Oh, I guess we don't see Ronnie, but we can see Redder make your keys cost 9 for
No exalt.
no exalt.
Hmm.
I think if it exalts, it can make your keys cost 12 now, which um
That'd be pretty silly. Like
yeah,
all the value.
because the play and reef effect are technically different. It's weird.
It's weird that like that that Edeye choice was just like
Yeah, it didn't really do. Another Redder comes down. Tribute is going to land on the biggin. And we already talked about this, right? There's no. Oh, it does have a Ludo, but okay. So if we see Ludo at some point, this becomes crushed amber, but not. That's it. That's the only thing going on there.
hmm, I want to see Rex online at this point.
Yeah, we are getting out of hand on the board, so it makes you think, what are the answers on the other side? We have not seen 3 Fates. That is very good right now. What else is going on that could happen? Harbinger of Doom could land, and then he could pop the Obsidian Forge. But no answers in Logos. I mean, no answers in Shadow, where he's going. We'll see. Hugger Mugger could oddly deal damage to Soos. And it does. There's something. Does he have the 2 damage card hit and run or mug to follow up to get the threat off the board? Uh, just no one steals 1. Mug does kill off Comsos. The huge threat. I Google is pointing out there's a huge come on man if John chooses to forge the red key first, which we did see in a game. Was it for the KFPL or was it for? It was for the last event. It was in the doubles event. A player forged the red key versus the red baron. All right. Most of the threats were dealt with. We're going back to Logos on John's side. Still a decent board here. Cutthroat doesn't hit. Sonya doesn't hit. Dr. Millie gets some reap value. Titan Guardian kills the Baron before it gets elusive, I think is what the player side would give him. Yeah. And I think that's going to happen now. So killed him just in time before Red Baron becomes elusive, which is somewhat obnoxious, but still. 4-1 elusive that doesn't really do anything else is not a big deal if your opponent doesn't whiff. I wanted set 5 to be the key color set. That is still one of the sets I'm probably the most excited about seeing because it's just fun. But not yet.
Keyforge is
It's not here yet.
Keyforge is not on a decline yet. Like they got a lot of things going on. It's been pretty.
Yeah, we're gonna see it. We know we're gonna see it. I was always super excited when I saw the Red Baron the first. We now believe he's part of the Skyborn house. I have friends that love pirates and love like steampunky stuff. Yeah, so I definitely am down to see that set when it comes. Zoom to Kincan. Is that really the best option? I guess it is. That's real weird.
There's just not enough creatures in this deck.
Yeah,
like
your 13 creatures. Yeah. It does again kind of restrict. Again, there are no Saurians in play. Oh, now there are no shadows in play. This is a very good Kincan, and that is the second Amber we've seen this Kincan steal, which is quite a bit more value than most Kincans ever see.
Is this a lateral shift?
What?
Kincan's on lateral shift. He's the guy that's getting all messed up.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, you're right. Ronnie comes down to steal 1. You wish he probably would have had that win. Raider had the 7 a while back.
Yeah.
But nope. Oh, Oubliette. It's gotta be Kincan. It's like enough of this. Get out of here. And that is what the target is, of course. Because he does have a second exhume, and Kincan could have come back. That would have been another form of answer.
Would it be a can then?
Okay. The hit and run. This one I have a deck that has 3 hit and runs and 3 Ronnies. It is super fun to play because you just get value here.
My hit and run moment is the hit and run with Snecklifter. So good.
Yeah, I think my son actually has a deck that is 3 hit and runs, 2 Ronnies, and Snecklifter, and he does that noise. It's like
so good. I want that deck. It's so good.
Dusk run on a Ronnie, so there is value there if you do go back to Shadows. Shadows is one of those houses you rarely see played twice in a row, though, so that'll be interesting. It would be kind of funny if 3 Fates ends up killing this guy, though. We're in Shadows. We haven't seen Oubliette or Hit and Run. Oh, there it is. Hopefully it gets rid of the Hit and Run. Hawk. Yeah, definitely killed the Hollow. We talked about there wasn't a lot of protection in that Colonia. Colonia, yeah. That is actually quite a bit of the deck's protection gone with 1 card. It was going back to John did go back to Shadows. So that was actually a really big answer. He was going there anyway. Capture gets off check. The key. I guess had he killed the sales key, he would have forged here. But you can't know that. I, as the player on the other side, would not have assumed my opponent would Shadows. And that was only a 2-card play. Mug and Vinda capture. So that was interesting. Kirby comes out, starting to see what we talked about, the value, if you can get some of those shadow cards out of your hand. Zap for the exact number you need. Even though both boards are empty, I do get the feeling that John's in a tough spot right now. Garcia?
John taking his time. He knows he's on the ropes as PF.
John's Hawk. The Hawk on the Obsidian Forge, I think, very significant there. Because even though you have so few creatures in your deck, it's always a key cheat you kind of have to like pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure.
And now we're even. We're dead even. 1 key 5 amber to 1 key 5 amber. The big thing though is we've seen the second Ronnie, other Ronnie's purged. The TMTP has not come down, so that's still relevant. Control-wise, comparing across the field. But now Raiders in that position. 7 cards left in your opponent's draw pile. Do you go high? Skip your reap? Skipping the reap means Kirby also doesn't trigger for your efficiency. What do you do, Jupe? Do you go to 9? 8?
I think I do.
Oh, he does go to 9 because he wanted to play a card.
I think he just played chicken here.
He went for it. Oh, and that is not a Shadow's turn. Ooh, Axiom here. Do you really not have any creatures in hand? Ouch.
Ouch.
That was the stuff I was more likely to see it from Persephone, like just not having creatures for value. 18 creatures, you do have them. That was just a rough order of draw.
And Raider is turning for the home stretch. Will John be able to catch him? Turn on your Usain Bolt, John.
And that key forgery is just such an obnoxious thing.
It's
like every
so
time you go to forge a key, it's like, does it happen?
Maybe, maybe not.
And yeah, he gets to go straight back to Star Alliance. The value stays. Oh, Garcia's Blast. Good call. Concedes. That's it. Raider has it in 2. I was wrong. You were right. Your boy pulled through this time.
Woo woo. Like, he's not my boy. He's just a guy I like watching play.
Okay, sure.
The clock is closed. It's 16 minutes. But yeah, it's just so that the cards can be a little bit bigger. Sorry.
Yes, there's. Yeah. So I don't believe we were pulling them in for an interview. So thoughts on the game, Jupe? That was real fast.
Boom boom. Like for reals. Like I think that was just good Keyforge. What do you guys think out in the chat there? Like it was interesting. I thought it was. I mean, it's kind of like I was surprised that the Binite Rupture deck didn't take down the round 1, and after that I thought it was looking pretty good for the for Radar at that point, because I thought that was going to be his hardest like out, was to get rid of the Binite Rupture deck without losing a deck, because I thought for sure that they would trade. So, but
I was with you too. Like when I saw the matchup, I was 100% like, this is what brick decks were made to do. Because when AOA first came along, Coda Rush was still like hot and heavy in the meta, and some of these brick decks that came that were very, very good just annihilated them. And we did not see that happen. There were at least 3 moments in time where Brig would have been very, very fire, and it just didn't line up for him. And then we saw the Chota come into play. We saw the Seed come into play. And it does, and that's actually the difference, I think, in a lot of decks that have Chota, don't have Chota, that change the level of their value as far as like what tier they're playable at. And that's what happened, and it ended up winning the game, because in both of those instances, had Brig been live in either of the 3 occasions, it would have been a different outcome, because there's no answers left. Like,
yeah.
And in game 2, that was, I don't know, like I expected the board to look very differently, because Raider had the board almost the whole game. The deck only has 13 creatures, and none of them are like, I don't know, they're not like bird creatures, right? So that was real weird. I would never have predicted. I think either deck could have won the match. I would have never predicted the win to look like it just, not a single time, but I have like,
And it just
Raiders deck is going to outmuscle this,
And it
whatever.
just shows you
That's,
that's the reason why you play the game in the KFPL, because on any given day, anything could happen. Even when you look like you're pressed against the wall, sometimes you get that lucky little bit of of an outcome where like you get that 1% or that 5% chance where your deck just plays so nice and your
yeah.
opponent doesn't line up, and it like happens, and that's Keyforge. The variance in Keyforge is sometimes brutal, but it's still less than most other games I've ever played. So I love Keyforge. I think it's exciting to watch games. It's almost like watching football. It's like you like watch the Kansas City Chiefs go up against the worst team in football. Who would that be this year? I forgot. Like whoever, like the Bengals say, like they should definitely the Chiefs would be the favorite going in like heavily, but sometimes the Bengals win. Like it just happens.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel when I play Keyforge. Just like anything can happen. That's why when I'm usually playtesting, I want to play at least a best of three. Like I always try to get rematches and stuff because I don't think that one game can ever tell you anything about the matchup. You need to play like literally 100+ games, I think, before you start to get a feel for
Well,
it.
and that's another thing, like we've talked about before. A lot of people will like try to figure out which deck is better between two decks, and they'll pair them off, and then they'll play best of five or whatever.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I will insist every single time, just because deck A beats deck B does not mean deck A is better than deck B.
Yeah.
Like this game just doesn't work that way.
No,
Um,
like your deck, Akari last season, right? Like you lost to
mhm,
Jason and Kodo, and that was like Jason's deck was like an 80, like it wasn't a slouch, right? It was like 86 or something. But
mhm.
like it just came and had a bunch of bounce, and that was really bad for you.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's a bunch of great decks that could beat Jason's deck, and
yeah,
yeah, and
it
Akari
just
could
swings
crush
around.
those decks. Like it's a very very complex game.
Yeah.
But yeah, shorter cast for you all today. Thanks for joining us at the KFPL. I believe if I pull up my media tab, our next thing is going to be tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. It's going to be Alex Shepelev versus Andy Ming, and that'll be from Group H.
And if you got the time to watch it before you go to to take your charity events to the big one,
Mm-hmm.
make sure that you do because it's going to be a great matchup. Those two are really phenomenal players, so I'm excited to watch them both in action. And super surprise tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I am recording a Burn the Stockpile episode that I'm really stoked about. We have Steve Hamilton coming on to talk about art that he got cleared by FFG. If you don't know who that is, that's Balance Sheet. So we're getting to talk to Balance Sheet direct about his art, and that's going to be super sweet. So, and we do have a couple of new arts that he brought out into the world of Dark Tidings. So, going to be super fun. It's going to be me, Dominic, Steve, and Ollie Hodge from Alter Archons. So we're gonna all have just a art geek powwow. So look forward to that episode. It will be on the YouTube as soon as I can get it up. So I'm pretty excited about that. But other than that, there's other games and stuff that will be happening throughout the weekend too. But the big thing this weekend, if you can and you got time to do it, go play in the big one. It's going to be a good event. They're giving to the same charity that we gave to before, and those guys need more money. They're actually short. They've been sending us letters and stuff about it. So they're not meeting the goals that they need to for this for their cause. So I'm really hoping that they hit their quota and stuff and maybe more. So but other
Yeah.
than that, go ahead.
Come by tomorrow, 10 a.m. Take a peek at our match, and then go play in the big one. Even if you can't play, they are accepting direct donations through their charity events that will go to the organization Doctors Without Borders.
Hmm.
Great cause. I thought I was going to play tomorrow, but I might not be able to. Regardless, I do believe in money,
Yeah.
whether I can play or not.
Yeah, I would love to say I was going to donate, but I just got a car and I probably won't have extra. But I might find a little bit, like maybe we'll figure it out. But
All right.
I want to. But
Either way,
either way, do
happy
that.
forging, y'all. Have a good day.
All right, so here we go. Whoops.
Killing machine.